Picture a normal Tuesday morning at the office. The space hums along. Someone laughs near the coffee machine, keyboards are clicking. The baseline environment is completely relaxed. Then the door opens. Your boss walks in with their jaw tight, eyes down, not a word to anyone. Within 90 seconds, the laughing stops. Shoulders creep up. People suddenly find their screens absolutely fascinating. The entire room changed temperature in under 2 minutes. That is not your imagination. The emotion that travels fastest through any office is rarely the good one. It is fear. Standard corporate logic says culture is built on spoken words, mission statements, and all-hands meetings. But the most destructive forces in a workplace transmit entirely in silence. Nobody announced anything, yet the entire room tensed up. When an executive's unspoken anxiety reaches your desk, it hijacks your nervous system before you even understand what you're feeling. The bad mood you're experiencing at work often doesn't actually belong to you. Researchers track this spread using a biological concept called emotional contagion. It means emotions move from person to person a lot like a cold virus. Your brain constantly, automatically reads the faces and postures around you, nudging your own internal state to match them underneath your conscious awareness. This animated diagram illustrates how that spread happens. When we look at how human beings communicate, less than 10% of emotional data travels through the words we speak. The other 90% rides on everything else: the clipped tone, the micro-expressions, a heavy sigh, or the way someone drops their bag on a desk. The human brain evolved to prioritize these nonverbal threat signals for basic survival. If you see someone tense and on edge, your nervous system listens to their body, not their words. An anxious leader walking into a room acts as a screaming biological alarm. This hardwiring creates a dangerous asymmetry at work. A cheerful colleague might be pleasant background noise, but fear grabs attention immediately. When the most powerful person in the room is anxious, their state dominates the environment, simply because our brains treat it as an urgent threat. You might assume that working from home protects you from this, but video calls strip away all the casual, softening context of a physical room. They force your absolute focus onto the fastest carriers of emotional contagion: facial tension and vocal tone. Physical distance does not shield you from a toxic manager. Instead, the digital frame acts as a fiber optic cable. It delivers those raw, unmitigated threat signals directly to your nervous system. The lateral spread of fear between desks accelerates when it hits a structural hierarchy. This creates the trickle-down effect, the process that turns a single moment of panic into widespread institutional silence. This chart shows exactly how anxiety travels down the chain of command. A top executive issues a harsh, high-pressure mandate on a Monday. That lands squarely on a middle manager, who absorbs the pressure and carries that knot of stress into the rest of their week. By Wednesday, that middle manager's voice is half a notch sharper. They unknowingly pass the anxiety down, suddenly micromanaging a junior employee who has never even met the original executive. The fear has rolled downhill. When lower-level employees observe this cascading harshness, it quietly sets a behavioral norm. It teaches the entire organization that fear is simply how power operates here. Layer by layer, desk by desk, fear is taught. This data visualization shows the ultimate cost to the business. In an environment driven by fear, 85% of employees retreat into defensive silence. They hide vital concerns, stop asking questions, and allow small errors to fester into expensive disasters. The tough boss who thinks fear sharpens performance has the science exactly backward. Cognition and emotion are intertwined. A fear-driven hierarchy literally dims the collective intelligence of the team and forces everyone into hiding. Emotional contagion relies almost entirely on unconscious transmission. It works because you don't realize it's happening. Therefore, the moment you bring the mechanism into conscious awareness, you instantly weaken its grip. The first defensive move is pure awareness. The next time your stomach drops after a terse message, stop and explicitly ask yourself, is this fear actually mine? Naming it creates a psychological gap between your manager's panic signal and your own reaction. The second move is building a localized, low-hostility pocket. You might not be able to fix the company culture, but you can purposefully inject calm into tense meetings. Calm is also contagious. It is just quieter, requiring you to choose it on purpose. The third move is acting as a circuit breaker. When an anxious directive comes down from above, you absorb the spike. You translate that panic into clear, stable instructions for your team, removing the dread before passing the task on. We need to be honest about the limits here. You cannot mindfulness your way out of a genuinely abusive, chronically toxic system. Sometimes the fear is too constant, and planning an exit strategy is the only healthy choice. Acknowledge the fear-driven system as a diagnostic tool for your career. This insight clarifies whether the environment deserves your investment, or if it is simply costing you your health. True professional power is recognizing the invisible flow of anxiety and choosing to step outside it. When you become the barrier the fear must get through, rather than a conduit it flows through, your quiet immunity becomes the most valuable skill in the modern workplace.